Okay, so we're out of executive session at 7:56. Sorry, Dak. Hold, hold that thought. So, we have covered our rezoning application information, our highway purchases updates, dog kennel agreement with Alden. I did get correspondence from, the Alden Councilwoman Colleen Cutler, and they are actually, passing the agreement at their meeting this week.
Okay.
With no changes. Okay. So I told her that as long as she got me that this week after I believe the meeting's Tuesday, tomorrow. So I said, once she gets that back to me signed and they're all okay with it, then we'll pass it on the 26th. So,
Is there a time frame of a year at which time it's revisited? Is that in the?
yes, yeah, and what I'm assuming what we'll do, I think when I sent it to her, it was with July 1st, starting through June 30th. So if that's the
Might be
way they
August,
passed
or-
it, yeah, then it'll take effect on July 1st and go for 1 year.
Yep.
And we'll see how things go for the
Yeah.
1 year.
I think you had it as June 1st.
And then I
Yeah,
think
but
we changed it because it was later, right?
Yeah, when,
You changed
before
it,
I
yeah.
sent it to her, the proposal, we sent it to July, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because we had already gotten past June 1st, yeah. So that's good, so that'll be taken care of. I had on here if we needed to do any review or any thought or conversation on the local law that we're proposing for Monday. Anybody have any qualms, problems, thoughts about that? Otherwise, it's on the agenda for next,
That's the stage, we had the public meeting the other night.
No, that's the
Oh.
local law for
local law
the
3,
solar
the
moratorium.
solar moratorium.
Sooner than later, I
So as long as everybody's good with that,
Question,
yes,
can we pass that as a local law?
No, you're just
Monday
gonna set,
night.
you're just gonna set the date for the public hearing, which will be July 10th.
right,
And then you consider the local law if you want to on July 10th.
And that's when the county's date of so many days to respond starts?
No, we're not amending a zoning law,
So we don't
so
need
the
their
county
approval.
doesn't need to approve it.
so. Library.
Not much, anything going on. Christine was gonna double check if the HVAC is still on schedule to come in August. We had a meeting, so that was one thing discussed, and then, I did get a hold of Dean Hobbs, and he's hoping, told him I'd like to get him, I think I told somebody this Friday probably, right? About checking the library roof before the HVAC system goes in, and then also maybe giving this roof an evaluation
Mhm.
and setting up a maintenance program. Once, I would say, before winter comes, check the building roofs out for anything that's minor. This guy's not going to do anything major, but if you need someone to keep up on it or give you advice on what should be done in case they do start to deteriorate, and they gotta be replaced. So he's gonna try and get a hold of me, and we're gonna look at the 2 roofs on the library and then this one here.
Very good.
And I did get copies of the manufacturer, I believe the people that put the pumps in for the sewer. I have to get a hold of them and get some insight maybe, and then a direction on how to maintain them, or at least get them inspected to make sure everything's still the way it should be after 20-some years, 21 years, whatever it is now. So I gotta do that yet, so.
Okay. Did you find that? Did Scott have that or
No,
did
Christine
Christine
had
had it?
Well, she had sent it to me on her phone, to my phone, I just laughed.
Did you tell her that's a very bad idea?
It's like little print. So yeah, so then when I was there, she got stuff that she copied, and made copies, or that she sent me, and made copies of it, so.
Okay. Um. I'm going to say right now, town hall parking lot is sort of in limbo.
I agree.
I think with, until we do a little more investigating on some of our other potential projects that we're talking about doing, that maybe we just need to put that on the back burner because it may become just part of a other larger project. So. Especially, I mean, you know, we do have enough money set aside to do the easier end of it. You know, Scott gave us the $100,000 to $400,000 range. We do have the 100,000 set aside. If we decided we wanted to do the quick and easy that Scott suggested, that's already in a fund. But I just don't know if it's worth laying that money out on the off chance we may rip up the entire parking lot at some point.
I don't think it's all that bad shape myself compared to other parking lots.
Sure.
It's
Right.
not like there's huge holes in it,
Well,
and people aren't gonna be falling into them, breaking their ankles.
Well, right, and yeah, you're correct, it is something that could definitely be,
It's little wavy
Put
holes,
off.
puddles.
yeah,
About the only thing you recommend is have the sweeper from the town, JF, come down and sweep up the, is what I call it, the sandy, small pebbles,
The grit.
yeah,
which
the-
somebody could slip on. And then, other than that, let it go. But I think that would be an idea, because they're put down for friction in winter time, but then pick it up, so it's.
Yeah.
Because it could be slippery.
so I think I'm going to sort of back burner
So
that and we'll take it
That's
off for a
actually the
while.
parking lot, part of the parking lot, because the salt will dissipate. But when you're plowing, it's like shaving, I guess, you're actually shaving little bits of that parking lot off, and it's gonna fill them little voids in, and that's where you get the stones and the grit and that from.
But it's
But
still
the sweeper,
slippery.
yeah, the sweeper can still come and take care of that,
Yeah, because there's a fair bit of it in the, where the water collects.
yeah.
That's just a minor suggestion.
So we'll remove that. Anything new on denial columns?
I did take someone to look at them, and he's gonna give me a price on replacing them with aluminum.
Not vinyl.
I asked about vinyl. He says with the aluminum, everything snaps together. With the vinyl, you'd have to put a post in and then wrap it.
he agreed it was decor, it was decorative.
Oh, it's decorative.
Yeah.
I ripped the piece right off. I thought they don't support anything.
Is it recessed?
No,
Is it on the face of the wall?
no,
It's not recessed into the wall.
it's not recessed into the wall
Okay.
there, yeah.
Oh, wow.
I think it's right, I think it's pretty tight to it, if I remember
Okay.
correctly. And we're gonna go with a square column, because when you look at the front of the building, that's recessed into the building, but it's all square, it's not, there's no columns or anything, so it'll fit the building. And I think it will still add a little support to the little,
Portico.
yeah. But there's nothing in there, it's just, I pulled one of the slats right out.
Oh, sure,
I
sure.
don't know where I thought or why I thought there was like a reinforced with steel on the inside, and that was just a cover, a decorative, but there's nothing.
The overhang is looking pretty good.
Yeah,
Or
well, for how old the building it is, yeah. I
was
mean,
it
the
19?
building probably should be, maybe next year, we'll think about repainting the wood on the exterior part of that building. Probably use a little bit of scraping and touched up.
right.
I got one other thing on their building.
Yeah, go ahead.
I talked to John Cummins a couple weeks ago. I had some questions for him. And one of the things we talked about was the cold storage building during the blizzard. The back gutter on the backside of the building is damaged pretty severely in some spots.
Mike was telling me that today.
Yeah, so I reached out to, I told him, he said he hadn't had time to look at anything because what to get into it. I said, well, I can make a couple phone calls for you. And, well, a couple phone calls I made, they just don't do that kind of gutter work because it's a building where the gutter is like almost like fabricated right into the building. So
I have that on my house, and I have a recommendation for a contractor that does that,
Yeah,
do ya?
but it's very expensive.
that's what Mike said. Mike's got a hold of one guy today that gave him a price. And he said it was like, what did he say, like $30,000 or something
Oh, so
like
is
that?
Mike gonna look into this then?
Mike he's been trying,
Okay.
but he's having a hard time finding a contractor that will actually come and do
I
it.
got a number from someone today,
Okay, well,
I
maybe
didn't
talk to
call
him
yet.
and share.
and that, to me, I take the gutter off. and
Put a
then-
different gutter on,
I wouldn't
right?
even put a gutter back there. I would dig a trench with a drain tile. Fill it with stone and let the water run right into the drain tile. That's what I do with my barns instead of running them gutters, which are nothing but maintenance. And you just let the water run off into like a 2-foot stone trench with a pipe and it drains right out.
Well, that's, Mike said that the quotes he was getting from people, it was like cost prohibitive. He
Yeah.
said it's just nuts.
Yeah, the one quote that John Cummins got was like $15,000.
Yeah,
And the cost for the stone and the drain pipe is much less than 15.
Oh, gosh, yeah, plus we can do that ourselves.
yeah.
Who knows? But it would do that.
But we have to talk, I think there's somebody to talk with the joint facility committee first and.
I'm trying to get a meeting scheduled, yes, now that we know who the new players are at the village.
Is that Schultz and Perry?
It is Schultz and Norton,
The new guy.
Okay.
the new guy. Yes,
Did you see that?
so we'll all be new, except for John and Mike. So,
Did we were looking at putting a generator on the denial. Did that crash and burn? Did we put that on the back burner?
that's under my next
Oh, I'm
thing
sorry.
here.
I'm sorry.
Now, unfortunately, yes, I do not have good news about that. If we get into grants here, the emergency management equipment funding, I got a email from, I was really hopeful that we were gonna get money from Nick Langworthy's office. But I got an email from them this past week, pretty much just pointing me in the direction of some federal and state grant opportunities that we might be able to pursue, which tells me that's a polite way of saying, we're not gonna give you money, but we'll point you in the direction that you might be able to get money. So,
Can we lean
and the
forward?
generator was in with all of that,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Can we lean forward with, and I'm looking for it. Dan sent out another, I
Yeah.
guess he got another quote, Mike got another quote that was less than the other one. This one was 45.5 for the one trailer. Right? Was it one trailer? One trailer.
Yes.
One trailer stocked.
Mhm.
Can we lean forward with that single purchase? I'm asking. I know we pushed that on the back burner, hoping we would get something from higher state or federal funds.
Right,
If they're kicking that, and if this the state budget's been passed now, so these guys got their money in their pockets.
Yeah, they have an idea of what they're getting, right?
I think we have to do something.
I wanna do the one.
I mean, we should have something where it's self-contained and you can move it around. If we're not gonna do that, then we gotta figure out how we're gonna set up for this in the future, no matter what the situation might be. You know, if you gotta mobilize them to a fire company for a church, for cots and everything
Right.
else.
Mhm.
Um,
And frankly, I think that at this point, we need to worry about taking care of ourselves. I think we all know the answer that we got from the village board members. So yeah, you know,
Which surprised
I
me, but it
think
didn't
we-
surprise me.
well, yeah, right. So I think we move forward, taking care of ourselves, if that's the direction you guys decide you wanna go.
I mean.
Well, yeah, because I mean, we can still utilize it for the village, but if we gotta go along with it, right? I mean, what are you gonna tell?
I will not comment on that.
Can I talk about it though, or?
Yes, you
Oh,
can
okay.
talk about it. I'm
Well-
just not going to comment on recording about
Yeah.
it.
We're recording again? Why?
Yeah,
I gotta
yeah,
get my-
I mean, if we have it, it would be used where it's needed necessary, and where Dan, that would deem it necessary, if we have to go alone to get the stuff. We'll, you know, we'll just have one instead of two. Or we
Right.
just come up with a different plan and not worry about having a trailer at all, and just getting cots and making sure cause I think cots were the biggest issue.
Mhm.
And, you know, and whatever other things were on there, Joe, the storage part, like, where you can just hook a truck up and get it to where it's
Right.
gotta be, instead of
Right.
loading them on the trucks and getting them there, especially if it's inclement weather, or if it's, if say, just for the heck, you know, it probably won't happen, but if Perry's had like an ammonia leak or something, major ammonia leak. Things like that, I mean, what do we have, like 30 cots or something, that's not gonna cover, I would imagine most people are gonna have areas where they can go with family to get away and stuff, but some might not.
Mhm.
And the other thing to me that was important was little portable generators for power outages, if they're gonna be out of power for a while.
A lot of
Right.
stuff on this
Especially
trailer.
in the town,
Yeah,
right?
if they're on
I would be
oxygen.
impressed to see it. There's a lot of stuff on it.
Mhm.
100 cots, 20 special cots, a little bit larger people, I guess. Blankets, personal hygiene kits, all kinds of extension cord, the generator cord, the Generac, what you were talking about, little portable generators. A whole bunch of stuff on here. I could have sworn, what was this the first time, first go around? I thought it was like 60, 60s, right? Because we were
Yeah,
talking
it
like
was-
100
Close to 60.
and now it's down to 45.5.
With the same specs?
I would, yes. I'm pushing out that I would like to get this set up right here for his recommendation.
So Emily,
Well, is it worth talking to Rotella to see if there's any?
I had already actually talked to them about it. They were the ones who suggested going the representative route to see if we could get because they said unfortunately, right now, there is no funding for stuff like this. So they had pushed they actually had crafted the representative letters for me that went out, that I sent out. Now, you know, I will double back again with Galvin, Holly. And they sent one other one, I have to go back through my copies to see and see if there's any possibility at all that we're looking at potentially getting money from any of them first. And if they say, no, unfortunately, we are choosing other projects other than yours for our funding this year, then,
Well, I mean, there's other issues too, though, you know, we get all this stuff, and one of the other issues that was during that time last year was volunteers, manpower type things at the places. You can have all that stuff and get all the equipment, but if you don't have people there that's a tough.
Well, they had the people, they
Yeah.
couldn't move them. They couldn't, we were.
Couldn't get out.
So I see what you're saying.
yeah.
But this is for, I mean, in that particular case, I guess, lessons learned. If you know this blizzard's coming, then all this stuff should have been pre-spotted anyways.
Right.
Well, yeah, and I can go deeper into it also. The state, in my opinion, the state thruway
Sure.
authority has to have a better plan than just shutting the thruway off and dumping people.
Yeah.
Without
Exactly.
alternate routes set up and knowing where the weather is, instead of people on their phones driving right into the heart of the storm, instead of driving 30 miles south to go around it.
They came the same way I came.
And then
They came
everybody.
right off the
Yeah.
90 and right up towards Rochester and straight across.
Yeah, but
Same way.
you had to get back here. A lot of those people are using a 90 to go
Sure.
straight through and
Sure.
keep going. So you could have veered off and went down 20 and got in at 400 in the throughway, then south of the storm, then headed your way down towards Erie. So, because when you look at everything that happened and talking to the Danny and Mike Mutter and whoever was involved it was all pretty much out of town people we were taking care of, and they weren't dressed for it because they were traveling.
Mhm.
Because it was like
Yeah.
the perfect storm, right?
Right.
During, I mean, it was a double-edged sword, I guess, because on one hand, we had a lot of people that were off already because of the holiday. But because of the holiday, we had people coming through that weren't familiar with the area, driving right into it. So I guess my whole point for that long-winded speech was the state has to do something, and I talked with Danny on this a couple times, on having better alternate routes instead of just shutting the throughway down and let's say, okay, fend for yourself. And it's not just, you're talking just cars, you're talking big trucks, and we have big truck stuff coming through too.
Right.
They have to have a better plan on getting ahead of it.
Well, but to your point too, though, it may not always be a blizzard
No, it might not always
related.
be, that's
Right.
right.
You know, it could be an issue at Perry's, it could be,
This trailer has
No.
nothing to do with specifically the blizzard. This is
Right.
about
That's right.
preparedness.
Right.
Yeah.
I would like to move forward with the purchase of one of these trailers and continue to pursue state and federal government for funding to get a second.
for a second, one, and then the
I
generator.
think depending on what the emergency is though, some of the things that you wanna get may not work, like 100 cots if it's I don't know, the tornado that takes out a bunch of houses. I mean, who gets the 100 beds? Like, it just depends on what it is. If there's a war and, we're all in trouble, but, I don't know.
Well, yeah, I mean, unfortunately, we can't plan for everything, but all we can
Right.
do is plan the best we can, right,
It's about preparedness,
right.
is all this is.
And I agree with you, I mean, if we can purchase the one and still continue to look for funding for a second one, I'm good with that.
Were you talking like Gail in that office too on this?
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying, I'm gonna reach out, I'm gonna follow up with all of them and just, to your point, now that budgets are passed and everybody should know what funding they're getting. I'm gonna touch base with all of them and just see if we made their short list or not. And if they tell me honestly, no, unfortunately you didn't, then we know not to wait. So I will reach out to all of them this week.
Did you say the number coming down is 45,500 for this transportation machine? Plus equipment such as cots, et cetera, all together stored in it,
Yes.
and it's 40,000. And we paid 50,000 for a sign, which is very important. mean, safety is sort of attached to this, of course, the sign also, but
Well, I'm not a prepper, but I believe in preparedness. I've seen disasters. I've been involved in disasters. I know the importance of having this stuff on hand. I got here and the very first thing that happened to me, I bought my house in April and that October was the October storm.
oh.
I didn't have a generator.
Me
Thank
too.
God my neighbor did. And after that disaster, I bought a generator. I've only used the damn thing 2 times, but I have it.
But maybe like Mylar blankets would be cheaper and could have a whole lot more people than cots. That's all I'm saying. Like, I don't know.
This is all encompassing right here. I mean, I can send this out to you guys. I think he sent out one way back.
We had a update. I think I
Yeah.
had it here.
we got that, what, last week, right?
This is the package, right?
I can print it off and send it to
Well, he
everybody.
sent this June 6th, yeah.
I got it up right here. Actually, this is 124. So actually, I don't.
Which one
I
was
think
that one?
This one says 45,000 here for one.
Back when?
This is when we first met with him.
January 24,
Yeah,
124, is that what you're saying?
I don't know if it doesn't have the,
The equipment with it?
yeah, everything was there. So here's one from 315 now. The trailer was, I think, $7,600. There was some weight on there, Joe. I know he sent an email out to us on that too. I didn't copy that off. This is the stuff he gave us.
So did we get cots at the last emergency? Do we have cots stored somewhere from the last emergency or no?
Barely,
We-
barely any. We
we-
barely had enough to give out.
Yeah, we
That-
do
that was
have
the issue. That's why we approached.
Okay,
it in
some.
the first place.
right, we do have some, but nowhere near what we need.
Yeah.
Cause they had they had over 100 people
had
at
more
each,
people than
at
cots.
each shelter.
Yeah.
With the
What
bullet-
is what's the limit of how many people you can house?
I told him that if the numbers go beyond there was something else in here. If they go beyond the cots, then the Army has, neoprene bed rolls or something like that that you can put out. But I don't know what the odds of us going beyond the capacity is, but alls I want to do is crack the seal on this. And this is a total package right here. Everything that our disaster coordinator sat down together and then came up with this. And Mike Mutter, who is going to be on the board shortly, I would imagine, took the lead on this. This is all encompassing. And you're prepared for disaster. If you nitpick it, then say you take the trailer route, or you're trying to, I don't know, then I guess we all need to get on the website and nitpick it then. But I'm going off of what our disaster coordinators are recommended. And I told them I'd come here and fight the fight for them. This is what I'd like to go forward with. If it's shut down, then it's shut down. I'm telling them it's shut down.
I don't think it's shut down.
Yeah.
Doc already said his point. I think Don's okay with it. Doc has a good point with what we spent on other things, and
Sure.
this is something like that could be used. I mean, even if we don't use it, it's available because of the way it is. You could send it to Clarence or work with another municipality who might need that stuff, and we have it and we're ready to go with it.
Mhm.
So.
Yeah, cause I believe, to Patty's point, it does include blankets and like literally everything you could need in the event of an emergency
Where do we store it? Is it JF?
at the JM.
Yeah. I think
We don't
that's
need
what Danny
permission
had
from the
mentioned.
village on it.
No, not for this. This is.
What is does anyone know what our capacity is? Or
That's
what
right.
it would be?
At each of the halls or,
Yeah, like total, we have a disaster. Well, like what is our capacity of how many people we would be able to take in?
Well, that depends on how many facilities, because there's like a hierarchy of the facilities. So your first are the fire halls, correct me if I'm wrong. First
They-
are the fire
it-
halls.
It is, but they wanna get away from that
Fire hub house.
immediate, because they're gonna have the fire companies in there. So they were talking
There was a
churches,
church, the
or
I-
church,
church
the one
Yeah.
church on the main road.
on Main Road, yeah.
Yeah, so churches then go as backup. Our last, only in a big emergency, would be the school.
In the senior center, we can use two. We just, the point is we have to have the people there. So the firemen aren't tied up at the senior center at the fire hall. So they're available to go out and do what they have to do,
Mhm.
you know, like going out and getting people out of the cars and stuff and getting them back to the blizzard and stuff. You want them, and plus you need them ready for other things too. You can't have them, I hate to say it this way, but they can't be tied up babysitting.
Mhm.
They have to be ready to go and do their thing
And
too.
this transportation device, a machine, transports people slope that you go into.
Well, the snowcat.
I don't know what's going on
Well,
with
that's,
that.
I mean, that's a separate
That's a
deal, and
separate-
that would be for that particular disaster, I guess. But they're handling
This,
that.
the Northern Erie Snow Seekers Club is really into that. And I believe they were waiting for the state budget too to pass. On what the funding was for that.
Mhm.
And I think one was gonna be dedicated to Clarence and one to
Well, that's why I'm worried that we won't get funding for ours, because I think that several of them have already committed to them
Okay.
to participate in the purchase of those.
So we should probably circle back with Danny about that, the MOU with the snow seekers.
Mm,
Cause he had said he was gonna meet with them and then get in touch with us about that, and that was quite a few months ago.
yeah.
I
can
think the
ask.
last time we talked is when they were meeting at Backland Acres and Channel 7 was there. I don't know if you guys seen the news report or not on that. I don't know when that was, in April, maybe end of March.
Yeah, it was a
beginning of
couple
April,
months,
sometime.
yeah, I wanna say it was like in beginning, either end of April, beginning of May.
But Joe, then for procurement at that amount, then we're talking about going out to bid unless it's on a state bid.
I think, wasn't this? I don't know. I'll have to check with Dan, but I don't know if it was a state, but it was something like a federal bid or something, I think he said.
This
So
forgot to.
I will send it out to you, the quotes. I would think that it would all be listed on the quote. I will email it to all of you so that all of you have it and all of you see it. And then we can recircle back to it again, all right?
I mean, these are both quotes and they have numbers to them, but it doesn't really.
And hopefully by then I can have an answer from our representatives definitively whether or not they have anything for us outside.
Yeah, my intent was not to kick it down the road too far. That was my thing. This has been years now, I think, a year or two, when I was talking about the auto generator for the denial.
Yeah.
Because Danny's dead set that that's gonna be the centralized EOC for Akron Newstead.
Mhm.
Now, I tried to get him to come here because we have a generator. We can set up an EOC here if we had to.
Well, we would have to,
But-
I don't know if it's exactly.
He wanted to
session.
divide between EOC and government, I guess, was his thing.
You can't, you really can't have it at that library. Where the hell's that freaking park?
And I was gonna say, I mean, if you wanna centralize everything, you understand,
You gotta
like, I
have
mean, when I
one
deployed the
for-
9/11, all the decision makers were in one spot and everything kind of fenced off of that. And that was one of the problems that he was having was communication,
Mhm.
you know, so. I don't know.
I thought that was part of why we got the courtroom equipment too, so he would have access to.
Well, yeah, that's largely why we got our generator here.
Right.
Was for
Well,
that
that's why
purpose,
you want,
yeah.
you want government. to
Because
be
we have the
maintained
state
also.
police here and we have, yeah.
Hands down, this has to be the center,
Mm.
command center, can't be anything else. I can't see that.
I mean, I still think that it makes sense if we're able to get a generator for over there. But I think the equipment takes priority over the generator at this point.
Yeah, yeah, sure. I mean, we already have a backup for an EOC right here, but yeah, yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So
All right.
gotta get some bids then.
Yeah, well,
Is
I'll
that
get
what you're
everything
looking
over to you guys to look at that he has sent us and then we'll go from there.
It's a trailer with equipment. What hauls it around?
Truck,
Truck.
Yeah, a town truck.
Mhm.
Dedicated.
or any truck.
Any,
Could be Danny's truck, could be a town
Okay.
truck, it could,
Right.
yeah.
so there's not an incompatibility between. Apparently there is with the electronic cars, depends on which car you have. So GM has had to make something to accommodate.
Well, you'd have to see, I can't remember what trailer they had, I think they had I think it was a 10K trailer. I don't know if it's listed on there or not.
Just
so
long as we've got something
You can't hook it to any truck, it's gonna have to be a truck that's rated for it.
Mhm.
Until that capacity.
Yeah,
Just curious, that's all.
and the way the trucks are now, you have to have at least a restricted A on some of these trucks to drive. So not just anybody can jump in and drive them. They're driving out of class.
That would not be a problem for Danny to solve.
Well, I
So-
think it could be, I don't know if he's got a restricted A or not.
Well, then,
We have
Maybe
to
we could
find
find
this,
out.
yeah, we gotta find this out, but we gotta find out the weight of the trailer. And maybe you're exempt during an emergency, I don't know, it's not like a landscape or someone's doing it for business, there might be things for exemptions for it.
get our
And
ducks
I
in
think
order.
Danny would know those, I can talk to him on that, or Joe would just
Good.
talk to him.
And all electric cars, apparently you can't just pull in and put it in. Who's the guy?
No, these are these are, you just need a
No,
hitch
it's
and a
not
plug.
It was just the compatibility. I was surprised to learn that, what's it? The guy that started his own business, the richest man in the world. He's South African, or he was. That's the guy.
Elon Musk.
Yeah, what's the name of the car?
Tesla.
Okay, a Tesla electric vehicle and a GM electric vehicle, their hookups are incompatible. So GM is then going to provide an adapter so that you can communicate. That's all, curious,
There you go.
piece of trivia. Well, I don't want to be caught unconnected, that's all.
You got an electric car, Doc?
The what?
You got an electric car? Oh,
Just food for thought. You just.
The
Throwing it
thought
out
was
there.
about incompatibility of
Mhm.
something you were going to get, not after the fact that we got it, oh, it doesn't fit, that's all.
it'll hook up to any pickup truck. It's just a matter, you have to have one that's rated, they're all gonna have a 7 pin, if it's a 3/4 ton or bigger. So that will not be an issue.
All righty. We'll move on to. Let's skip to bicentennial events. Just sort of wanted to remind you all, please, if you're able, to put it on your schedules. Their opening ceremony for the bicentennial is at 7 o'clock, June 30th at Russell Park. If you're able, I would like you all to be there.
Day is that?
It's
It'd be
Friday. It's, the opening ceremonies are at 7, and then the band concert, the Friday night band concert starts at 8.
What is out front, something about Is it a Scottish pipe band or a Celtic pipe band?
Yeah, Sarah from the senior center set that up.
And where is it going to be held? Russell Park?
I'm Russell Park, I believe that is, yeah.
On what day?
That I'm not sure
I
of
thought
off
it
the
said
top of my
February.
head. I
It
think
was on-
that's a lunch thing, I think that's in the middle of the
Sure.
afternoon thing, I think. But I'm not positive.
It's obviously gotta be something.
So, yes, so if you guys can make sure that you put it in your schedule to be there, you don't have to be there long, I'm not gonna hopefully not make it a long convoluted thing. So hopefully I'll only keep you for a max of a half hour. So,
Why would you keep us here for a half hour? What do you mean?
at the opening ceremony,
Oh, you're gonna be speaking? You're gonna be on video?
there's, I don't know. Sure, probably somebody's gonna video it.
Oh, get that guy
Um,
Warmus. Is that his name?
Oh,
Yeah, he'll be
jeez.
there.
Yeah.
Oh, was it?
No, it's just gonna be simple. We're gonna do a little opening speech. Bev's gonna give her little spiel about a brief history of the town, like she did at the birthday party.
That was very informative.
Right, I think she's pretty much gonna probably give the same one.
Oh, that's fine.
And then, several of the other representatives are going to be there. Langworthy, Gallivan, and Holly have committed so far. And then the quilters are going to present the quilt that they made, the signature quilt that was made to us. And then pretty much that's it, and then the band will play afterwards, so it should be
Nice
relatively nice and brief, hopefully.
Weather permitting,
I like
if
to
there's
keep
no
moving.
backup. I mean, we're gonna be there rain or shine.
Well.
I was just curious.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Well,
I know that the band usually has an agreement with the school, that if their concerts get rained out, they play at the school. I'm actually going to be talking to the school tomorrow about backup plans for the Buffalo Philharmonic Orchestra concert, should it rain. So we'll be talking about that too, just in case for the opening ceremony. Yes. Other thing I wanted to talk about. Maybe that should be another executive session. Yeah, that probably should go back into executive session for a few minutes. Does anybody have anything else before we do that?
Is there any further movement on the Route 5 building and the Lions and things like that?
That should probably be executive session.
Oh,
Okay, there we go. We can talk about that too.
fine.
All right, well, can we go back into executive session?
So moved.
Your turn.
At 8:39. Okay.